Okay, so today we're going to look at a knitted cast on versus a cable cast on. Generally speaking, I use the long tail cast on for everything, except when I'm in the middle of a row and I need to do cast on additional stitches or things like a picot element. For a knitted or a cable cast on, you don't actually need to have a long tail. I've actually made too long a tail because I'm so used to a long tail cast on. Just make your little slip knot, have 6 to 8 inches there. We're going to pop through. Once I have the slip knot on the needle, that needle's going to go into my left hand. For a knitted cast on, which does give you a very pretty bottom edge, for a knitted cast on, you're going to go into the stitch as if you were going to knit it, come over the top of the needle, come under, loosen up, pull it up, and put your left hand needle in from back. Again, you're going to come into the stitch, over top of the needle, through the stitch, just like you're knitting, lift up a bit, twist it, and put that stitch onto the left hand needle from behind. Again, into the stitch, over top, through the legs, lift up, twist, and put it on the other needle. At this point, you actually can just leave your needle right in there, cinch it up right around that needle. This allows those of you that are control freaks to really tighten up on it because you have enough space with this other needle not to over tighten. Come through, up, in, keep your needle in there, tighten, through, up, on, keep your needle in there and tighten. This will actually help you speed up, so once you get good at that, you're just popping in, going through, putting it right on. So the knitted cast on gives you a nice kind of stretchy cast on. It's not as stretchy as a long tail cast on or super stretchy ones, but it's a decent little cast on. It's good for most things. I'm not sure I'd use it at the top of a sock or bottom of a hat because it's not quite stretchy enough for that, but it's a good one. If on the other hand, instead of a knitted cast on, if you are, let's say you're casting on stitches under an arm or you're casting on stitches for a buttonhole, I actually prefer the cable cast on. So where a knitted cast on, you come into the stitch. For a cable cast on, you go between those two stitches. So I'm not entering a stitch at all. I'm going between them, underneath the needle, between the two stitches. Grab your yarn, come over, come through that area, lift up, and just like with the knitted cast on, twist and put it on. And just like with the knitted cast on, I'm going to insert my needle before I tighten, come through, lift up, put it on, insert my needle before I tighten, come through, lift up, and put it on. So the cable cast on gives you a little bit more of a little bit firmer, I should say, cast on than the knitted cast on does. So really good for spots where you want to make sure that you have some extra stability, and through and on. And so they don't look all that different. It's just difference in terms of not quite as stretchy and stretchier. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that again for you really, really fast by throwing. For those of you that throw, I'm going to make my little slip knot. I'm throwing it onto one of my needles. I'm tightening my slip knot. I transfer that needle into my left hand. I'm going to come into the stitch as if I were knitting. I'm going to find my other yarn, come through, come under. Now, this is the biggest problem I see with people who throw. They tighten up on their tension here and then try to get the stitch to grow, and it won't. So loosen up on that tail altogether. Come through and tighten. Come into the stitch, come around the needle, through, loosen up a little bit, twist it and put it on. Again, you can still leave your needle in that stitch. Come around, come through, lift up, put it on. Stay in the stitch, come around, come through, lift up, and put it on. Same thing for a cable cast on. Coming between the two stitches instead of through. Come around like you normally would when you're knitting. Come between those two stitches again, lift up, twist it, and put it on. Between the two, and through, and put it on. Oftentimes you're going to read instructions and it will tell you to, using a cable or a knitted cast on, turn your work so the wrong side is facing and put it on. And we think, well, shouldn't we be purling then? No, the answer really is you should cast on with the wrong side facing you using a knitted or a cable cast on. And because it's not going to matter. If you look at the bottom of it, there's no real right or wrong side in this. It's no big thing. It's just a little nice cast on edge. So don't worry about that. So if you had turned your work so the wrong side is facing you, cast on, you're now going to turn your work back to where the right side is facing you, to do whatever your next step is. So that's a cable or a knitted cast on. Thank you.